Rigathi Gachagua has said so many things while in the United States of America. And I am telling you as we speak today, if there's someone who is tensed right now, is the Kenya Kwanza government plus the broad-based government combined. And if you look at what Raila Amolo Odinga is always saying, there's one target that comes out. Rigathi Gachagua. When you hear William Ruto make a statement, the target is Rigathi Gachagua. When you hear their allies speak, their target is one. Rigathi Gachagua. Now, on this particular video, I want to state it here officially that Rigathi Gachagua has surpassed the expectations of Kenyans and people across the world in terms of his opposition level. He has gone beyond even Raila Amolo Odinga's ability to face the government. Whether we like it or not, he has not been in active politics for long, but so far, whatever he's doing, nobody has ever done it in this country. While in the U.S., as I started by saying, Rigathi Gachagua has said so many things. But there are 3 top secrets that he released that I personally feel they're very significant politically. And on this particular video, that is what is going to form the basis of this analysis here today. But before I take you through, if this is the first time you're watching my videos at Mokwa Times, kindly take a second or two to subscribe, like, and comment, because that is the best support you can always give this channel.
The Americans have just heard the cry of the Kenyan people. Please, the Americans want to have an investigation to unearth your business dealings with Hemeti of RSF in Sudan, where you are doing gold business, and in reciprocity supplying arms to the terrorist group to kill women and children in Sudan. William Ruto, you need to know, the Americans want to know why you are working with Al-Shabaab. Why, when you are in Mandera, you met 3 leaders of the Al-Shabaab militia at night to discuss business with them. They want to know why. They also want to know why you have removed the requirement for vetting of non-Kenyans before they are given IDs. The Americans are concerned that suspected terrorists will be registered as Kenyans, and they will find their way to America and the rest of the world and create terror in the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, secret number 1 that Rigathi Gachagua released is this: that William Ruto, when he went to Mandera, or maybe let me say Northeastern, he met with 3 Al-Shabaab leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, that must have been, if it happened, it must have been a very confidential meeting where William Ruto was in the room, perhaps with just the Al-Shabaab people, where nobody knew that William Ruto was to meet these people, except very, very, very close people. And have you asked yourself how Rigathi Gachagua managed to get this information despite being impeached? That is a very clear indication that Rigathi Gachagua is very powerful. He has very serious intelligence, to an extent that he could be told of the presence of such a kind of a meeting in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, that piece of information about the Al-Shabaab, when you think about it locally here, you can tell to a greater extent it is true. Why am I saying so? When William Ruto was planning to go to the Northeastern for a tour, for those who remember the famous road that he was saying that he was going to launch there, ladies and gentlemen, some chiefs were abducted. And after they were abducted, William Ruto came out and said they could be released and actually gave a timeline. And after that timeline expired, those people were released. That was a clear indication that the Al-Shabaab, or the people who had abducted them, got the instructions directly. Listen, gentlemen, how did they get instructions? because it was alleged to be abducted by the Al-Shabaab militants. How did the instruction reach the Al-Shabaab people to release these chiefs? Why were they not harmed in any way? Why were they that they were very safe? Abductions by Al-Shabaab are terrible. When you look at that scenario itself, you can tell Rigathi Gachagua is more than 60% right. Locally thinking. But however, there are lessons also we can learn from that piece of information. For someone to go and make such a kind of a statement in the US, first, there are so many things that have happened behind the scenes, but most importantly, he has a backing of the United States administration. That's Rigathi Gachagua. You cannot just allege a terrorist statement without the US backing in the US soil. That's number one. Number two, William Ruto is being sent a message by the US through Rigathi Gachagua that be careful, be very careful. Number three, the fact means that the United States is protecting Rigathi Gachagua as well. Dealing with matters to do with Al-Shabaab, it requires that you are also sure about your security. Because this is a terrorist group that is recognized by other terrorists across the world. And if you are not careful about your security, you can't just say anything, anyhow, at any time. Therefore, for Rigathi Gachagua to gain the courage to say it, allege a meeting of that kind, then he's sure of one thing: the American government will protect him as well. Also, it's not only the Al-Shabaab people that can attack Rigathi Gachagua. We all know how ruthless the current government is. So for Rigathi Gachagua to gain that courage to say it, he has protection that William Ruto and his team can never imagine. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know that the American intelligence is beyond board, beyond imagination. And to honestly speak here today, ladies and gentlemen, Rigathi Gachagua has been supplied by very key information by either the American intelligence to confirm his allegations, or he's been told by American administrators that this is true, just a confirmation. So therefore, Rigathi Gachagua could not just say it just like that. Just like that. Another secret that William Ruto is scared of that Rigathi Gachagua released is about the RSF. Locally here, we were aware that probably the RSF have an engagement with William Ruto, because Rigathi Gachagua said it once, not twice, but severally in his media interviews, that William Ruto is having bad dealings with who? The RSF leader. Ladies and gentlemen, going to say it in the American soil, that is a very serious statement that is being made by Rigathi Gachagua. That I will say it in Kenya and say it in the US, and there's nothing you can do. And when Rigathi Gachagua made such a statement, ladies and gentlemen, also there is a confirmation that whatever he's saying is right. Locally here, we can tell it's almost true, because even a newspaper released of some information from Sudan showing that some of the munitions that were recovered there by the Sudanese soldiers found that there were some labels which were Kenyan. A clear indication also that what Rigathi Gachagua was saying while in the country was almost true. Now, saying it while in the United States of America, there's a confirmation that he has received. It is true. Ladies and gentlemen, when such statements are made, that shows that Rigathi Gachagua has already gone beyond what people had expected. Now, ladies and gentlemen, another thing that Rigathi Gachagua released, it is about the China deals. He said categorically that William Ruto went to China now, basically to cover himself from the things that he has done that are wrong, because he knows either UN will come for him or the American people themselves. So he went to seek, let me call it refuge, with the Chinese government. by maybe pronouncing his loyalty to that country, to that government, or maybe to the association with Kenya. That is a clear indication that some of these things that Rigathi Gachagua was saying were right. Ladies and gentlemen, what are some of the lessons that we can be able to borrow from all these top secrets that Rigathi Gachagua released? Number one, Rigathi Gachagua is confirming here automatically that he is now the chief opposition leader in the country. In that he is now the person able to release some information that all other opposition leaders cannot be able to access or be able to do what? To say because of fear. Raila tried to release local information, but Rigathi Gachagua has gone beyond by releasing not just local information, but also international concern, in some information concerning the international community. Very critical. Number two, the other thing that Rigathi Gachagua was exposed from these kind of allegations, it is that he is determined to destroy William Ruto from the international perspective. Completely. Completely. Tarnishing his image across. And very soon you'll hear sanctions. Because once you are linked with a terrorist group, so it is. Another thing that I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, is this. Rigathi Gachagua has decided to fight for Kenyans. And whether we like it or not, is not going to stop. Why? He knows where to touch to make himself popular. So therefore, expect more from Rigathi Gachagua that is going to inject and inject seriously. I don't know what is your take, but on the comment section you can share with me what you've learned about Rigathi Gachagua exposure while in the US. See you next time for more videos. My name is Abel Moko.